Hey everyone. So I've been using this wood stove for about 10 days or so. It's kind of filled up with ash. So we had a break in the cold weather. Today it made it to 22 degrees. Whole rest of the forecast is single digit temperatures. Very, very cold. So today I let this thing basically shut off. It's still nice and warm right now, but it's not scalding hot. You see all my fans have stopped. It says it's down too cold. The catalyst is now inactive, so we're going to open it up, we're going to clean it out, and we're going to restart it. So I like to let it cool down a bit before I touch it like this, but if it's very cold out, I'll just keep shoveling out a little bit while it's running. I don't like using this. I have a drawer that pulls out with a bin underneath that I can just take the poker stick and lift up like a little hatch and it dumps down into the bottom. I don't really like using that feature. I'd rather just shovel it out. So there's going to be some hot coals in here. You're going to see a little bit of red coals. Then we're going to go ahead and just dump it outside. Grab my little shovel. Another thing is, this isn't even completely cold yet. I like shoveling it out actually when it's completely cold, because what happens is when it's still hot, it creates an updraft. You can see all the dust going off, and then you're going to have to dust everything in the room after a bit. It creates an updraft from the heat of this, because this is very hot ash. It's also good to leave a layer of ash, maybe about ½ an inch on the bottom of the fireplace or wood stove. It protects your fire bricks, and you don't have to replace the fire bricks as often. I've been running this thing for, I believe this is the 3rd year of the wood stove. There's absolutely no damage to the fire bricks. I don't run it nonstop all winter. I run it nonstop when I'm home, but that still means every now and then it takes like a week or 2 break. Actually, some of this stuff is still very, very hot in here. This stove has been off for about almost 24 hours. And you see, people don't believe me that this stove stays hot, but it's a high efficiency wood stove. Most wood stoves lose 40% of heat up the chimney. This one keeps, I think, 80-something%. All right, this is hot. I'm gonna go put this outside in a minute. It's snowy outside, so I'm just gonna chuck it into the woods. You're not gonna start a fire this time of year. We got about 10 inches of snow on the ground. I'll show you me dumping this. It'll probably make a cool cloud. All right, now I'm shoveling this away from the edge. I might be able to just use some of the coals in here to restart it. It's possible. It's very much possible that this is going to restart by itself, and I won't even have to go through the process. I have a weed burner in here, which is a long blowtorch I usually stick in the chimney. You want the chimney to be preheated with a draft, because hot air goes up. It'll create. We already got that pull going. Otherwise, you'll have smoke coming in the house. When this thing's completely cold, you got a draft of freezing air coming in. So to counteract that, you crack the window in the room and you put a blowtorch, or you can light a piece of newspaper on fire and just hold it in the chimney to create a draft for like 30 seconds. And then I gotta sweep this. But while I'm using this, this mess keeps reoccurring. That's why I'm not really too clean with it at the moment. Look at the layer of dust we just created. See that? And it does that to everything in the room. The rest of the house, not really. It's just this room that I've noticed excessive buildup of dust since installing the wood stove. Just this room pretty much. All right, let's bring this outside because that's very hot. We don't want to burn the floor. It's concrete, but you could still wreck the paint if I leave it there long enough. There might still be some hot ash in here. It's about 4 in the morning, so it's pretty quiet out. I like it. It's snowing a little bit. See, I like how this bucket, see how it kind of locks in there? If I was to drop it, hopefully won't burn the whole house down if you're walking through the house with this glowing red ash. Ouch. There we go. Probably should have brought my fire gloves out here. Not quite sure how I'm gonna touch the bottom of it to chuck this. Actually, I just put it down in the snow. There's snow on the bottom of it now, so that helps out a lot. There we go. Big cloud of dust and steam. Nice. Alright, let's go back inside, and I think we can kindle a fire just with the coals that are in there. And that's not going to start a forest fire or anything. Look at the snow on the ground. It's freezing out. Back in the house. Alright, we got this right here, which is my little kindling. I save all that when I'm dumping this into the window. I save all the smaller stuff to help me make fires. I also save a bunch of paper in there. So we're going to try to build something in there real fast. It's going to be wanting to combust while I'm building it, but let's give it a shot. I've never actually, from this stage, started one. I usually keep it roaring hot or start fresh. Let's see what happens. Ooh, heavy. Yeah, I think this is going to start up again by itself. Once we get it going, I'll put some bigger pieces on top. All right, flue is open. I'm going to shut the door in here at the moment too. I don't want smoke going into the rest of the house and having smoke detectors going off. There we go. That'll draft up the chimney fast. Everything is still pretty warm. Alright, we don't need the rest of this kindling. Save that for next time. And I'll throw a big log in there in a couple minutes once that catches up. I think the fire actually choked itself, but it'll force itself up the chimney in a minute. It'll restart. It's still pretty hot in there. Uh-oh. It might be hot in there. But you know what I'm noticing? I see smoke pouring out the back. The chimney cooled down. The chimney's cold, so we got freezing air rushing down, and it's pushing smoke through the air intake. Okay, let's open this window. We gotta kill off that pressure. Now a whole bunch of freezing air is trickling down, and hopefully it can reverse that now. All right. It's already stopped. The window trick usually gets that, but I thought it was hot enough. I guess not. I promise you, I didn't touch a single thing. Just opening that window reversed the air, and now it's all venting up the chimney properly. The smoke's all going up the chimney, so that's what snuffed it out. The cold air going in reverse. It was unable to get rid of the smoke, so it kind of killed itself out. But now, with the window open, it started up nicely again. Once that catches nicely, we'll close the flue again, and we'll adjust that switch on the back is the damper. This is called the bypass because when it's cold, the catalyst doesn't work and that'll actually stall it out. A catalyst is similar to a catalytic converter in a car. It's a secondary burn chamber. So just like in a car, any fuel that's not 100% burned gets further burned off by that, so it burns cleaner. In this case, the smoke goes through the secondary burn chamber and gets burned a second time. It produces more heat for you. It also causes a slower fire, which makes it far more efficient. I was skeptical about a catalytic converter stove at first, but now I've seen what it can do. A regular wood stove doesn't stay hot for 24 hours. I never run this thing on low, but supposedly you can get over 30 hours. I've never achieved that or tried to achieve that. I only run the wood stove when it is extremely cold to save money on heating oil, which is a lot more expensive than buying a truck of wood. Most of the wood on my property is evergreen. Not great for burning. You can burn it. Some people believe the myth that it has a lot of sap. It'll cause chimney fires. That's not true. You properly season it. That's not the problem. The problem is this wood, even when it dries... Okay. Thankfully, that's going off, thankfully. It's saying carbon monoxide. That's because the chimney was working in reverse. No big deal. I just cracked a bunch of windows. That's a relief. You know why that's a relief? Because that right there is one that I just installed there. That's been there for a bit. I don't want that one there going off because that one right there is connected to the alarm system. That one will actually call the fire department if it's going off. So if this one goes off, it means I immediately got to call this company and tell them it's a false alarm. There's no way to shut it off because that would defeat the whole purpose of a system like that. Well, that's why I shut the window. I think I avoided the other one going off. Anyways, back to what I was saying. It's fine to use that other stuff, but this stuff here, even when it dries, it's very, very heavy still. It's energy dense. You throw this good hardwood in, oak, maple, it'll bring this thing a full 24 hours. You throw evergreen in there, it burns out in like 6 hours, maybe even less. Pine burns really fast and very hot. This stuff burns hot, but a very long time. So if that's all you got, it's fine. I also supplement it, but I have to buy that stuff because my property doesn't have any oak trees. It does have maple, but they're few and far between, and I don't want to cut down my maple trees because I want to be able to tap them for maple syrup. The trees that would be worth cutting down for wood in my yard, I like, and I'm not going to cut them down unless they fall down naturally. Then I'll cut them up and burn them, obviously. That alarm should go off at some point. The house is currently, I opened every door and window. Just trying to get that out of here real fast. It's carbon monoxide, not smoke, it's saying. Because this thing was running in reverse and we were getting some of the smoke gases. I mean the wood gases, but not actually the smoke apparently. But now this thing is venting correctly. A couple minutes now that that's starting to burn down. Most of what I just put in there is pine. It's very good kindling. We'll put this stuff in there soon. I'm surprised that thing's still going off. Maybe I should just go fan it. I just don't want to go into the other detector, like I said. It's just a major pain in the butt when you gotta involve the fire company. But the reason I got a system like that is because when I'm not home, I want to be able to know what the temperature is inside the house. In case the furnace ever didn't start when I'm not home, then all your pipes are going to freeze and you're going to come back to a disaster. But that system also came with fire and carbon monoxide detectors that will alert the fire department if they go off. So they're Wi-Fi smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, but they also have temperature sensors in them, and that's the actual main purpose of why I got them. Alright, this thing's starting to go pretty good. I'm about to throw some wood on it in a moment. Okay, it's venting very nicely. You just want to crack it at first. That helps it go up the chimney now, because when you open it suddenly, some of the smoke will come into the room. Yeah, it's still coming into the room. Just gonna let that calm down for a minute then. Wasn't time yet. We'll let that calm down a bit more. Alright, the carbon monoxide detector stopped going off, and you might hear that noise behind me now. The furnace just turned on. I'm gonna go in the other room and just shut that off. We're not gonna need that. But then again, this thing is gonna take a couple hours to start showing noticeable heat. But then again, maybe not. It's heating up a lot faster because we're not starting from cold. So we open the bypass again, crack it for a moment, so it starts going up the chimney. Now we can go ahead and shove a few large logs in there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Get in there. Shut it. Close that fast. I do that fast because I don't like the flames going up the chimney, because I've been using it a lot already this year, and I don't want it to start a chimney fire, which is possible. Had a chimney fire when I first got the thing after a couple months, and it didn't damage anything. These pipes, I was told, can withstand a few thousand degrees, so it literally just burned itself out without an issue. Like, I stuck a fire extinguisher up there and but turns out it already burned almost everything it was gonna burn, so that wasn't even necessary to do. But as long as there's snow on the roof, there's not really a hazard in it.